It's the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the War Report After Dark. It's time to yeet it up, folks. Jey Uso has done the unthinkable, and he has won the Intercontinental Championship. And I gotta tell you, I'm fucking shocked. Not because I don't think that he could do it. I just didn't think Braun was gonna lose it so quickly. So I'm assuming we're going to get a rematch for the title at Bad Blood. But yes, go ahead, Mitch. Welcome back.
Thank you, guys. I was going to say, I was reading something that they said that Jay's not going to hold the title for that long because of the whole Civil War bloodline.
Well, and I'm okay with that if that's the thing. But before we dive deep in,
yes,
our good friend over at YouTube, David Rosca. Boys, what's up? Bill Goldberg beat Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at Unforgiven in 2003. He also would like us to know that Jey Uso won his first Intercontinental Championship last night on Raw, in case none of you have been watching or have social media. And yesterday, 22 years ago to this day, Trish Stratus retains her Women's Championship against Molly Holly and Victoria, September 22nd, 2002. Trish Stratus won back-to-back Women's Champion in 2002 at Unforgiven. That is your history lesson of today from our good friend David Roscoe over at YouTube. And Tara says hello.
Wait, time out. Hey, Tara, but no Nadia Comaneci facts?
No, not today. It was all about Jey Uso and Trish Stratus and Goldberg.
Wow.
The night's still young.
That night is still young. He's switching it up a little. So I think I want to do what we did last week, Al, and I want to start with Raw because it is very fresh. We'll get more into the Jey Uso because I think the whole show was great. And it got me going within the first 5. Well, listen.
You got what you wanted, Steve.
I got what I wanted, guys.
You've been calling it.
Dirty Dom's going in a shark cage. I'm so excited. We have been talking about this for so long. I am so excited to see that motherfucker hanging from the ceiling in this cage during the match. Oh, it's going to be great. Thoughts? And when you're giving your thoughts, let's not forget about the fact that as the show started, the monsters were still beating the shit out of each other, and we'll get more into that too, but holy hell, what a way to kick off Raw.
Yeah, man, as soon as they started talking about the cage, I was like, Steve is going to be so excited because he's been talking about this.
I was jumping up and down in my living room like a 10-year-old girl.
I was uberly excited. I think we had the conversation last week or 2 weeks ago saying that, Braun in reality is not going to hurt him to lose the belt right now, regardless of how fast he lost it. Because, the guy's an animal, and obviously the company has huge plans for him. But for me, this was a poor man's version of Daniel Bryan's runs for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Like, the fans literally asked for it. The guy sells one of the top most merch. He literally has the best walkout, hype music for fans there is right now, or one of the best ever, I would say, in wrestling. And I mean, the guy is just, for me, he's just great. And all the losses he has taken in championship matches for the past year and a half, call it 2 years, it was just due. I would honestly hate if they take the title away from him quick. I don't see why he can't go into the Civil War with a title and he can have matches within the Civil War for
Well,
his Intercontinental title. I don't think that's a bad move either, but just the fact he got served correctly and justice finally got due after 14 years and 5,600 plus days. Kudos to my man, Jay.
I will say this too, because I agree with you. Number one, I don't see any reason why he can't be the IC champion and still be a part of the Civil War. That's number one.
because the Bloodline's gonna do something to
Possibly,
over there.
right? But I'm okay with him still having the belt. Now, I will say this though. I feel like Jay was cheated a little because they ran out of time. His celebration was cut off. They didn't even show the pyro because the camera, I guess they chose the wrong camera angle. It cut right off the air. Like, you had to watch on TikTok or anywhere else, like, what happened afterwards. I don't know. I thought the celebration was a little cheated. But I am happy they pulled the trigger. I think he does deserve it. I just think the timing is weird. Like, why wouldn't you have done it at Bad Blood unless you're going to set up the rematch for Bad Blood? And I guess, too, you can only have so many matches at the pay-per-view, to be fair. So, but I thought it was great. But I did feel like he was cheating a little bit. There was a cool video that Rhea was by the pyro table, eating it up when he won the title. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You know why I think it probably wasn't a bad idea, for the fact that the surprise, right? I think if this was a Bad Blood match, we would all be more in tune to think that he could win it because it is a big event. But the curveball being thrown on a Monday night for an IC title, his first IC title ever, I honestly think it worked perfect. And it was like with what you said in the beginning, that like the whole show was from soup to nuts. It was a great Raw. Like, it was a very, very good Raw. And we often don't say this on the show compared to SmackDown, so that was pretty good.
Now, is it 2 hours now? Raw is 2 hours, right?
Not yet,
Okay.
but
When it
but
hits
yes.
Netflix, I think.
No, I think before. I think Netflix isn't happening, I don't think, till January, but I think October. So maybe we have one more Raw before. No, I guess maybe I don't know.
There's something about when
It's coming
deal-
up.
The USA
where-
deal expires, but they still are on USA until the end of the year. So then there's something going on with that. I'm not.
And I think SmackDown going 3 hours starts in I think
October
in January.
7th.
October 7th. Wow.
So
Is when
right
both
after Bad
happen?
Blood.
Yeah,
Is October
idea.
October
happens
7th will be
October
the
7th?
2 hours.
for Raw?
So right after Bad Blood.
So do you know when the 3 hours for SmackDown start by any chance?
I can Google it.
There you go.
Let's
That's
see
great.
what Google says.
Power of Google.
We finally have somebody to Google stuff again after Ryan stopped showing up.
Fucking intern.
And like we just said,
Intern.
Intern Part 2.
Mitch, you don't even know this. We're the dumbest podcast on earth because we'll sit here and ask questions to each other that we could easily Google, but
We all are sitting in front of computers.
Well, you don't like to use
And
the computer.
phones.
You want to try to use the brain, Vince.
That's
Don't-
what I
don't-
agree. I agree.
Don't fault yourself for that, brother. We like to
It
use
says
our
they're
brain.
still in talks to move SmackDown to 3 hours. They haven't officially done it yet.
They're already announcing it's happening. So
Yeah, well, they're in talks. They just haven't announced when.
yeah. All right. Well, that's
No
happening
date for
soon.
that.
Listen, if I get more Jacob Fatu, because we get 3 hours, I'm good with it. Be honest with you. SmackDown has been the more. I look forward to SmackDown more each week, but Raw is giving me a reason to tune in. I mean, what they're doing with Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman is nothing but spectacular, because you got two big, agile monsters that can just do crazy shit, and they just can't be controlled. I'm surprised they're doing a last monster standing match and not putting them in the cage. I feel like I was waiting for Pierce to come out and be like, you guys can only be contained inside of a cage, even if it wasn't a Hell in the Cell and just a regular cage. But
I think the cage limits them though, because I feel like they're gonna, because of their monsters, they're gonna be brawling from like to the backstage and everything like they've been doing.
well, let me ask you this: what's the over/under that match doesn't end in a double knockout?
I think that's what it is, because I think they're gonna continue this battle. I mean, this rivalry. It should be.
Well, even if there's a definitive winner, they can still keep it going.
I just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I feel like at some point we need an ambulance door to be like ran through from Braun.
Listen, you got a very good chance of that happening at Bad Blood, quite honestly. That match, it's going to go everywhere. I mean, it's going to go around the entire arena. It's going to be fun to watch. We'll have to see. But those two, man, they're doing it right.
What I like about it,
yeah, go ahead,
is, like you said, Steve, they're doing all this stuff with the titles, which is great. But this is something that they're doing that's not for a title and means something. Like, it feels important.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of the times you have these undercard contests that don't really mean anything and ultimately go nowhere and does nothing for like, this is going to help regardless of who wins or loses. They're both coming out of this looking good.
Right. There's no losers in this match.
Yeah.
Dave Abbey over at YouTube, it's going to be strange when they have the War Games match that the people holding titles could be Jay and the Tongas, and neither Roman or Solo will be holding a belt.
Those fucking Tongans stink, don't they?
You know what, though? But that could be another reason why they don't want Jay to have a belt. Because how does he have a belt and not the tribal chief? You know what I mean?
That's the tribal chief.
But it falls under the storyline.
He is my tribal chief.
I mean, look, I know I'm going ahead of myself a little bit, but it falls in line with what Cody stated in his promo when he said what he said to him, which we'll talk about it later, but pretty much is saying, like, you have nothing to lose, brother. You have everything to lose. We already have a champ. We already have a tribal chief, and neither of them is you. So, and again, like, keep in mind, when the Shield was together, Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Moxley, held the U.S. title forever. Didn't defend it for shit, but he held it for a while. And they still had storylines, and once in a while they let him fight. But, like, look, I think Jay should hold this belt, man. I don't see no reason. I don't see no reason why they can't rock with the bloodline, and he's the only one holding the IC title. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think he should have a run. I do. I think he's earned it. I think he deserves it. And I hope they give it to him. I hope it's not a short... I hope it's not one of those things where Braun just turns around and wins it back at Bad Blood a week later.
I hate those.
I hate
That'd
those.
be terrible.
I
wouldn't be mad if what's his name takes it away from him, the Enforcer Fatu, when they get into the Civil War.
Well, no, that's another story.
You give it to him, and you can have him not as long, but you can have him have a Gunther-ish run with the belt, because he's going to be a tough motherfucker to beat.
They got to get their asses moving if they're going to do that.
What I'm sorry?
War Games, like they
War
got
Games.
They don't need more than 3 weeks to get that put together. But I do think you're going to start to see some shit go down at Bad Blood. I think that's where you're going to start to see some of Roman's side of things. I just hope it doesn't include Cody Rhodes.
No.
If Cody Rhodes is a part of that team and not our honorary Sami Zayn, I'm going to be really pissed.
That is not a blood. It's not a blood.
I'm gonna want them to lose.
Well, that could be the reason they lose. Like, here's the thing: they got to do something to. I understand Cody sells a lot of T-shirts on Fanatics.com or whatever the fuck it is, but like, he is like the afterthought of all afterthoughts with this bloodline thing happening on SmackDown. So him being associated with it now kind of reignites. He was hot WrestleMania, post WrestleMania hot. Got less hot as the defenses went on, and now is intersecting with Roman Reigns again to kind of reignite him.
So listen to this. I don't give a shit. We'll jump all the way around because I've been thinking about this, and I've been dying to ask this question to everybody, and I'm curious to see everybody's opinion. And this might be, I don't know, this might be an unpopular comment. Am I the only one that really didn't like that whole cinematic thing with Cody and Roman?
The Georgia, I didn't like it.
I thought it was stupid. I didn't like it at all. Like, listen, visually, is it cool with the drone shots and like the entrances onto the, like, it's so beyond staged. It's movie-esque. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like that would have been much better. You could have done the same promo in the ring in front of a crowd.
Are they doing it in the stadium?
No, they're not.
They're
not. It's just they were trying to make it that Cody says it's his home versus Roman played football there kind of thing. Like, trying to bring the significance to where this city, where the match. But my thing is, I think there were parts of what Cody's promo were that were heel-esque. And I think they were afraid of a crowd reaction that would start to cheer Roman over Cody, which is why they decided to do this cinematic bullshit. Thoughts?
Yeah. Dude, I don't... You have 2 years of a plan where you go, okay, Cody Rhodes left AEW. We have him come back, face Seth Rollins forever. He tears his pec, still wrestles the match, comes back and beats Seth Rollins again 84 times. He beats Shinsuke Nakamura another 1,847 times. Shinsuke Nakamura's fucking shoulders have permanent scars on the back of them from where he's been pinned by Cody Rhodes so much. But then you finally, like, you have this whole plan. He loses at one WrestleMania to win at the next one. And you give him his belt, and you give him his dad's watch, and all this other shit. And like fucking Bruce Pritchard comes out and takes a bow, and Triple H gets a hand job in the middle of the ring in Philadelphia as they ring the Liberty Bell, and all this other shit goes on. You know what I mean? And then what? They didn't have a plan for this fucking guy. They just said we're gonna book up to WrestleMania 40, and then fuck it, we're just gonna make it up as we go along. What was the plan for Cody Rhodes after he won the belt? What was the plan?
Forget about even what the plan.
Know, like Kanye said.
Forget about what the plan was. It's just the whole cinematic thing that they did just bothered me. Like, and I'm listening to a lot of different. I'm reading a lot of different things on social media about feedback where it was overwhelmingly well received. I was listening to other radio shows and podcasts that most people thought it was great, and I'm sitting there being like, "What the fuck?" I didn't like it.
Well, Steve,
I think the fans that were there, it wasn't fair to them. It should have been in ring.
Well, that too.
Steve,
yeah.
Let me burst your bubble, buddy, and be the first one to be against you because I fucking loved it.
Did you really?
Yes, and this is the reason why. Number one, yes, it was cinematic, as it should be. You have the two top stars in WWE, the two top merchandisers, the two top go-getters, and our latest two champions. The fact that he brought him there is because that's sacred ground for Roman Reigns. And he made him promise him in sacred ground that he will have his back. So there's more to the story. I don't think you're reading deep enough into it. That's the whole point of it. That's his state, but he calls it his city and his sacred ground. Great. Promise me you'll have my back, for I can have yours.
I don't have a problem with the promo. The promo was good. I just didn't... I guess it's just I didn't like that it wasn't done in the middle of the ring.
Well, keep in mind, you can't... The middle of the ring isn't sacred grounds to Roman Reigns based on the history they have for the state of Georgia.
You could have put the field up on the fucking Tron. You know?
All right. And my favorite part of the whole thing, at the end, when Roman thought he had the last word, and Cody got in his way, that Roman says... "You're in my way," and he really turned to him and said, "You're in my way for life." So this, for me, is going to be, for the next few years, if Cody stays that hot, because I know Roman will, it's going to be the Rock Stone Cold kind of version that we're going to get now in our years.
Which I'm all for.
Which I'm all for. But that, for me, that's what I saw from this promo. Because I truly believe Raw's already asking for Roman Reigns. So I think when the draft gets, they will split them, and Roman will go over there and finally make that belt relevant. and be that champion, and they're
So-
gonna let Cody keep riding.
So Dave Abbey over at YouTube, exactly, Al. So you agree? You like that? You like the cinematic thing?
Yes.
All right. I mean, to each their own. I don't know. I am in the minority.
Future. I just saw the future of our collision in the future, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is fucking great.
And again, like I said, I like the promo. I just feel like it would have meant more in the ring with a crowd. Even if there was a chance that they were going to boo Cody.
That would have been great.
It would have been really great.
You know, Al, I just had a thought. Limp Bizkit is still around, so there is a chance that they could like do a remix of My Way for this Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns feud for the next WrestleMania, and have Corey Feldman playing guitar.
You ever see those Corey Feldman videos on TikTok? They're hilarious.
My favorite is the one where they actually synced up somebody playing a good guitar solo to it, and people thought it was him, and it's like, watch the hands, dude. There's
dude
not.
Still wants to be Michael Jackson.
He does.
That guy's brain is broken, and I cannot get enough of it. I love hearing more
I can't swipe more. Like if he's on, I gotta watch it. Dave Abbey, the only way to do it where you were sure that everything was heard was to do it taped. I guess. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know.
The crowd could have definitely, because it's those two guys meeting for the first time in the ring to do a promo after WrestleMania. The crowd could have definitely hijacked that and like taken it to a different place. You know, so if they just, that could be the thing. They might have just had bullet points that they wanted to get over, and they're like, we got to do it pre-taped. Because the first time they get in the ring together to do something like that, you're going to have half the crowd chant for Cody, half chanting for Roman. Some are going to boo one of them. Some are going to boo the other. You know what I mean? It's going to be chaos.
And also keep in mind, like, there's like I saw them meet at the 50-yard line, right? And they're literally 50-50. They're each 1-1 at WrestleMania. So like for me, like that even gave me like a different thought of everything of the setup. I was like, oh man, that's just pretty dope. Like they're at the fucking 50, they're 1-1. You know, they're meeting. They're gonna team up to go their separate ways, but eventually, he wants his belt back.
That's fair.
And I think whether he's involved with the bloodline or not, Cody's still going to be overshadowed by the bloodline story.
Always, without question. People will always be more invested in the bloodline storyline.
And he wouldn't, the whole thing about getting booed, he doesn't want to get booed. He doesn't want to turn heel. This was...
I'll boo him.
As we're saying, yeah, but I'm saying it's calculated. You know what I mean? It's definitely calculated where, like you said, they might have had meetings backstage of like, there's a real chance that our golden goose is going to get booed the second he's in the ring with Roman Reigns now.
The problem with Cody's whole reign is that they didn't really give him quality opponents. Like when he fought like Shinsuke and AJ, they weren't who they were, at their top.
Collect the paycheck. This is collect the paycheck AJ Styles.
Yeah, and
you know
then
what I mean?
Like so many things with Solo, and they kind of it's almost like they set Cody up to fail for his reign.
But then the Solo thing is like, I think the story that they're telling with Solo about him not being as effective as Roman Reigns is great, but him just being pushed into this feud with Cody and then losing. I understand why Cody couldn't drop the title so soon after WrestleMania, but don't make them wrestle each other. I think there's more intrigue where if, just like Roman used the Usos to win and maintain the world title, if Solo used the Tongans to do the same thing, and that would be a parallel that they could use. But at the time, they didn't want to give, you can't have Cody lose so soon after WrestleMania. So I understand everything that happened, but Yeah,
but you're right. Then you don't put him in that position because now you have this new so-called tribal chief who's lost twice to Cody Rhodes for that belt.
Exactly.
Dave Abbey, the only way Cody can come out of this is to turn on Roman. The heat would be off the charts.
Not gonna do it.
He wouldn't, but he's not wrong. Could you imagine?
Oh, no.
Like Cody would get Dirty Dom type heat for turning on Roman right now.
This is exactly what everyone on Reddit was saying 4 years ago about Cody and AEW. All he needs to do is turn heel, and he would be a great world champion. And he won't fucking do it. He sees those little kids with their fucking big doe eyes every time he throws a weight belt in the crowd, and he gets all misty-eyed and thinks of his pops and all this. Like, I get it. He doesn't want to turn.
But you know what, though? Here's the other thing. I truly feel like Cody's falling into that John Cena trap where WWE's not going to want to turn him because of the kids and the amount of merch that he sells and the amount of Make-A-Wish and all the outside shit he does. Same as John Cena. Like, there were times where John Cena wanted to do they had it set. He was going to turn.
Oh, yeah. SummerSlam 06.
And Vince just said, I can't lose the merch sales. So I could see it being a similar situation where,
I have a question, though, because that was Vince back in the day.
Right.
And if you notice, shit is different now. Because
100%.
The same fucking marks that were killing Roman Reigns that would never dare to wear a Roman Reigns t-shirt own probably a dozen Bloodline t-shirts right now. And that's the same thing that'll happen with Cody because Cody's good enough. And I think he's a better heel, honestly. I like him better
enjoy to see him as a heel.
And that
as
was
a
the
heel,
thing.
he's because he's a fucking asshole. So
he was always a better heel. And this is the point that a lot of AEW fans hit with Cody. And I just knew the shoe was going to drop in WWE at some point. And Cody left AEW under his refusal to turn heel. And I'm not saying he's leaving WWE, but I'm saying it's going to be a battle between Triple H and his influence, or The Rock and his influence, and Cody's insistence on being a babyface. And again, all this other stuff like merch numbers, this, that, and the third. It's going to be an interesting, period in the next few months to see what the fans are going to do and then what Cody's going to do. Because if he turned heel, he had another 2 or 3 years of steam in AEW. If he turns heel now, he's got 2 or 3 more years of steam with this Roman Reigns thing, because then they could flip it, like when The Rock and Stone Cold flipped at one point. Eventually, The Rock was babyface and Stone Cold was heel for one of their matches. So you can still do that. But one point I want to make that these guys always overlook. In WCW, between like 1994 and 1996, do you know who the biggest merch seller was? It was the babyface Hulk Hogan, red and yellow. 1996, post Bash at the Beach through 1999 or 2000. Do you know who the number one merch seller was? It was Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the NWO. So like, there's still money to be made. If Cody turned and made and was the American Nightmare the way the American Nightmare was intended to be, as this dastardly heel who uses the fact that his dad was a legend to kind of get a leg up on people and blah blah blah. He's got a built-in like nepo baby kind of entitled guy storyline. Like, it's right there, and I don't know if he's going to execute.
It's like with Cena, they if they ever had turned him, they could have easily made new merch for him as a heel, and people still would have bought the hell out of it.
I think it was more for the kids than anything.
Yeah, but I think he asked to become heel or something like that, or they asked him to become heel.
Yeah, there was a point where Cena had like designed a heel outfit, like a wrestling outfit, and like he had he made a whole new song that never got used. Like, they had it on one of those unreleased things, but it literally never got used. And there was merch, there was shirts, there was like, if you Google it, there's like stuff out there that shows what could have been with a heel Cena.
Can you imagine if Cena had turned when during that match with RVD, and instead of RVD winning, Cena retains and beats the shit out of him, and it was already going to be a riot if Cena won anyway. But to add the turn as well,
they may have legitimately burned the building down, dude.
Yeah, that is true.
I truly believe that WWE in general, Vince McMahon in particular, missed out on money by not turning John Cena.
Oh
Because
yeah,
there was
100%.
so much more you could
Yeah,
have done with
that's
him.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was so much more, man. It's crazy. But and another thing we have to understand too, right? The reason that the merch will never go down is because when a baby face goes rogue, usually is us the fan asking for it because we don't like him anymore. Is a stale product, so we want to see a change.
Cody's been stale for a while.
He has, but
This guy's only been watching wrestling for 2 years.
I'm bored of Cody. It's
Right,
the
but
same
again,
stuff every
half-
time
half
with
of
him.
that is
Oh,
because of
you didn't even see Stardust or any other bullshit he did before that.
Well, I watched a little bit of Stardust because I had to see
Oh.
Cody look ridiculous.
That's arguably the worst part of him.
It might be the
Yeah.
best part of him.
Triple H is the perfect example. How many times did he flip between heel and face throughout his career? So, I mean, that's true too.
Him, Shawn
Big Show.
Michaels, The Rock, Edge.
I
Even
think
a bunch of
Dusty
guys.
had the most turns.
Randy
Dusty,
Orton.
like why?
Orton, oh my God, Orton had
Cody's
might be
dad.
Orton with the most.
Cody's dad was a heel,
Dusty as a heel was horrible.
but Goldust was a heel. Like his brother, like
Goldust was a great heel.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, like,
he was
it's in the
better as a
family.
heel, I believe.
Yes, I
Oh,
agree.
Goldust was fantastic as a heel. That was the whole
One of my
Point of it.
favorite IC champs of all time.
Doink was
by the
better
way.
as a heel.
Who?
Doink. Yeah,
Yeah, Doink was
Doink
better
was
as a heel.
better.
Especially
Yeah.
because he would
Music.
spray the kids in the face.
Yeah, the music and everything. How sad he used to come out. It was great.
Oh, the creepy music. Yeah, and you come out that look on his face.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was his real look because the real guy was a fucking mess.
Matt Bourne was a mess.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matt Bourne was a mess.
True.
Matt Borden did have a lot of issues.
Jesus Christ.
Indeed.
By the way, did I mention Dirty Dom's getting put in the Shark Tank? I'm so excited.
So we've been talking about this since they've been teasing this whole Liv Rhea Ripley thing, like a year ago, however long ago this shit started. We're
Yeah.
like, wouldn't it be great if we had Dom in the shirt? Now I know they're not
They
actually
wanted
having
the
a-
custody of Dom.
right. Yeah. See, we want that ladder match for the custody of Dom with the briefcase or the clipboard at the top of the thing. But you know, this is a good.
I'll
it's a
take
good,
this.
Right. Exactly. It's a good medium here. It's a happy medium.
So what's gonna happen? He's gonna drop brass knuckles to her, and she's gonna beat our.
Either that's how Liv wins, or Rhea gets a hold of him, uses him, and that's how she wins. And
Oh,
Like
like
So
when
when,
it's DQ'd.
like
you
when
think Rhea?
Ellsworth
You
dropped
think Rhea
those-
beats her?
dropped
Huh?
whatever the
You think Rhea beats her?
I think Rhea wins. I do.
I think they drag this out till Mania.
I don't see Rhea winning.
No?
No.
I think I'm somewhere between Mitch and Al. Like, I don't think it's going to go until WrestleMania, but I feel like this might be a.
A setup.
creates
Yeah, like-
somehow like a roadblock for her.
Yeah, like this could be like a Survivor Series or a Royal Rumble blow off. Who knows?
Because think about it. You need to use Dom, and the only way you use Dom is if he helps Liv win and get more heat on himself.
Mm.
You
Well,
gotta keep
but
my
if-
favorite
if-
heel alive, baby.
I know, but if Rhea wins, this feud still continues anyway.
Rhea don't need that belt.
She doesn't. But
Liv does.
She does.
Mitch definitely agrees.
He does, but I mean, if you
No,
think
but
about
she-
it
she
for
does.
2 seconds, you're like, yeah, you're right. She,
The
No,
sad
she
she
doesn't.
does.
I
at
love
this point,
everything
she's
they're
the
doing
women's
with Liv right now.
champion. Like without a belt, she's fucking Dominic's psychic.
Mm.
I
I
can't
think
have that.
Dominic's more her sidekick.
Well, right now because she's the champ.
So Xavier Woods freaked out again this week. So this is definitely happening.
I thought
Oh,
this was the
man.
week.
I did too, actually, but it's happening. So we'll see. There was a little thing that happened during Raw. Like a new symbol popped up. Anybody hear any clues as to what the fuck that was all about?
Viking
No, I
Raiders.
didn't even notice it. Honestly,
That's not the Viking Raiders, is it?
It's like it was like a circle with like Viking runes in it, wasn't it? It was like on fire.
It was on fire. I don't know that it looked like the Viking Raiders shit, but
I thought it was Viking Raider ruins. I don't know. That was my first guess.
I'd be okay
Kane
with
coming
that.
back?
Who?
Kane.
I'd be okay with that too. I always like Kane.
60.
Yeah, he's in crazy shape right now too. He's been working out like crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
I will say American-made Kofi Kingston Xavier was a great match. Even though Xavier freaked out again
It
because
was
they
very
lost.
good.
But then Jay wins the title. It was a really good moment, especially because they did the false finish, and right after they did the false finish, I said, "Oh, there you go. That was Jay's chance. He ain't gonna win." And I was wrong. And I was happy to be wrong.
Yeah, man. I told you it was my favorite moment of Raw this year. I think on a text earlier today, and it truly was. I'm very happy for him. He's really one of my favorite wrestlers. He's easily a top 5 favorite wrestler of right now. Oh, by the way, we got to finish the show with that. We each got to give our top 5 favorite wrestlers of active roster. So we got half an hour to think about it, or 20 minutes. FYI.
Damn.
Yeah. So So I thought it was awesome, man. I was very happy for him. I was mad. I'm not mad, but I was a little upset. I wasn't able to watch what I saw on Instagram after the match, where he got teary eyed, and you really saw him heartfelt. It was awesome. And you're right. The camera angle sucked.
Yeah, how do you miss the whole crowd, like with the pyro and shit? Even Dave Abbey says first time he was really surprised by WWE. It definitely was a surprise. I was not expecting it.
So Raw is not going over the 11 o'clock hour anymore due to because the thing with USA is ending. There's no overrun anymore.
Not even overrun. It's shortened from 3 hours down to 2 hours because basically their long-term, whatever, last 3 or 4 year deal with USA Network ends on October 6th or whatever. So October 7th, they're starting this interim agreement where it's still on USA from October to December before Raw switches entirely to Netflix on January 1st. So USA, I guess, not being happy that WWE is leaving and going to Netflix was like, all right, well, if you need to stay on USA Network, then you get 2 hours. And they were basically just accepted that.
I'm not happy about the 2 hours.
You are not happy?
I guess you get less dead storylines.
I'm very happy. We've been hammering for 2 hours for a very long time. I think it's a great move.
Even temporary, it's still a great move.
Yeah, but then hearing that everything is moving to 3 hours as of next year, SmackDown and Raw, give me a break.
Reaction, I was like, fuck.
I just, man, there's a certain amount, I like wrestling. I like baseball. I like a lot of things. I like cheeseburgers. If you gave me 1,000 fucking cheeseburgers, I'd be like, enough with the cheeseburgers already. So there's a theoretical limit to how much wrestling I can enjoy on a Monday night. And it's right around 2 hours and 15 minutes. And after that, God bless you.
It happens to me with AEW because sometimes I just watch Dynamite and that's it. I can't catch up on the other stuff because it's too much.
And Dynamite's what you need. It's 2 hours. You're in, you're out. Rampage and Collision, both being an hour long, aren't bad watches because they're quick. But the important things are happening on Dynamite. So you're picking the right one. And Dynamite is for me. Dynamite flies by. It's a 2 hour show. It's a bunch of matches. There's some promos for that's what I want out of a weekly wrestling show is just give me some good matches.
I also love how AEW's pay-per-views fly by too, even though they have a whole shitload of matches usually.
And and again, they reach my theoretical limit of all right, we have enough matches tonight. Maybe we can scale it back.
14 matches.
and it won't even feel like it. It really won't. Like the last pay-per-view, there were a ton of matches, and
but if you go back and try to watch WrestleMania 4, it's a chore to get through that.
Oh no, there's a way to curate WrestleMania 40 where you like skip a bunch of matches and don't like. There's a few that you really need to watch. Yeah, Collision is a lot of fun. I guess I'll tell this story very briefly since we only have 20 minutes left. I want to give a big thank you to RJ City from AEW.
Man.
So on Thursday night, this past Thursday, I was in West Hartford, which is about 35 minutes from Springfield, Massachusetts. Where they had Collision on Saturday night. So I'm sitting outside a restaurant that we do an open mic at every Thursday, and I'm on the patio and I just see two people walk by and I recognize one. I did that thing where you like point as they're walking. I said RJ City, and he's like shocked that I recognize him, probably because he's like, how would you recognize him? And he turns around, I shake hands with him. Standing behind him, popping out, is Harley Cameron, the girl that's with Saraya. And oh my God, she, first of all, not to get sidetracked, she is a 12 out of 10. Holy Moses. But I talked to them real briefly. I'm like, hey, there's an open mic. I don't know why they did this. I want to, again, Harley and RJ are like the realest people ever. They stayed for the whole open mic. They stayed like and Harley signed up. She did 5 minutes of comedy. I have a video of it. And afterward I was talking to him. He said, hey, do you want tickets to Collision? I was like, yeah, man. So he gave me, we exchanged contact information, and I got a very nice, very close seat to Collision. And had a great time because it was Collision, Rampage, and some Ring of Honor. I mean, a lot of fun. And again, man, just one of the nicest, just genuine dudes. Just like went up, talked to him about wrestling, talked to him about comedy because RJ does stand up as well. So like he's very cool, and it's nice to know that there are people on TV and people who are producing TV that aren't like super duper celebrities. They're just like real people, and they're just like normal, like you can talk to them. And RJ and Harley were both very cool, and I can't say enough nice things about them because they stuck around. They came at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they didn't leave until like 10 or 10:30 when everybody had gone at the open mic. I mean, they watched me go up like 5th, and they stayed around for like the 20th guy, and there was like almost nobody left. And so I just, first of all, that's such a cool etiquette thing to like stick around for a whole show. They could have just fucked off whenever they wanted, but like very, very cool. So thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
That was fucking cool.
That's very cool. Very cool.
And I did beg for a job. I was on stage, and I just turned to them. I was like, guys, because people really didn't know. I was like, guys, RJ City from All Elite Wrestling. They're like, oh, really? I was like, and I just went into this whole thing. I'm like, RJ, 37 years old, and I still watch pro wrestling. I need a job, dude. Like, what am I doing? Like, I gave him my whole spiel while I was on stage, and people thought it was. I turned it into a joke. It wasn't just me begging for a job, but it was. So that's kind of why it was funny, because I was being serious, but also not being serious, but also totally being serious. So I'm on his radar now, and I feel like my next step. Don't tell anybody, everybody that's watching live.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm not. There's nothing going on yet. I did ask. He said there's no. How did he put it? There's no formal process. Like there's not one of those HR like job boards. So they don't have that up right now. I am, for those of you who are wondering where I've been writing with a group of people who works with an independent film producer to put together a TV pilot for a comedy show. So I'm hoping that if this goes well, I can use that as a credit to be like, hey, I wrote for this comedy show. I want to write for AEW.
That would be awesome.
That's my hope. My other thing is that because AEW is coming back to Connecticut in November, so I'm psyched for that. I'm going to see if I can use him to get me in touch with people to actually get, because we had Adam Cole on the phone at the radio station last summer. I want somebody in studio. I don't care. MJF would be great. You know what I mean? One of those guys would be like very cool to have in the studio, like an on-scene champion guy, like one of the Bucks or whatever, you know, so something like that. And if I can make that happen, I'll be very happy.
That'd be pretty sick.
We'll see. Fingers crossed, but.
So, Bad Blood is coming.
Yeah, when is that? Is
October
that
5th.
Oh, October 5th.
So a week from this Saturday. So next week we're going to have to go over our predictions. But Al, we got 15 minutes left. So what did you want to do now?
Current wrestlers, top 5.
Top 5, you cut out. Top 5 what?
Current wrestlers on the roster.
Favorite?
Yeah, your favorite top 5 right now.
In just WWE or?
Yeah, just WWE. Let's keep it basic for now.
Okay.
Fave 5.
Thanks for that.
Favorite 5. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to go Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, and Kevin Owens.
Okay.
No. I take that back.
Wow, that was fast. That was.
I have to put Gunther in there somewhere. So.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean that. Kevin Owens and Gunther. It's a toss-up, but that's my.
That's fair. I mean, now that Roman's back, he seems like he's so hot that he's barely wrestled, and it's like he's instantly like super credible. So he's up there. Gunther obviously is up there. Drew for sure. I like the work that Drew is putting in. I want the guy to. I don't know. I want more for him. I just hope for more for Drew McIntyre. 4 and 5. I don't know. Maybe like a Carmelo Hayes, because he's good, and he's young.
Very good.
Like
very
he's one
good.
of those guys that's gonna, he's young enough for the. Oh, and I guess I'm gonna go Carmelo Hayes. I'll go Braun Breaker as well. That'll round out my 5. I'll put 2 young guys as the 4 and 5. Because I absolutely think Braun Breaker, regardless of what happened on Monday night, world champion very soon, potentially next. I don't want to say next pay-per-view, but like, damn, 6 months from like, it's coming. It's like hurricane season. Something's hitting land.
He'll be a world champion by sometime after Mania, but not before Mania.
I like Dave's got his up.
Who's next?
Oh yeah.
I'll go next.
Well, Dave Abbey got Roman, Gunther, Dragunov, Breaker, and of course Cross. Okay, those are good ones too. Mitch, go ahead.
My list is a little strange. First, we got Liv, obviously.
Yeah.
Ludwig Kaiser. I love watching him.
You can't shit on Kaiser.
Yeah.
He's great. Yep.
And then obviously Gunther with him, which is phenomenal. Braun Breaker, he's wild, and then Uso, of course.
Okay, that's a good 5. Easy E, what do you got?
E, you're still thinking, or you want me to go?
No, I got it.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Or as Pritchard used to say, Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake.
He did say that.
So I'm going with Roman Reigns, Gunther, Braun Breaker, Rhea Ripley, and Jey Uso.
Okay.
I have Jay, Roman, Gunther, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio.
I can't believe none of you said Jacob but me.
Jacob Fatu?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you know what it is? In respect to the wrestlers I've picked, their body of work is a lot longer.
Well,
I've yet to really, and I don't know him like you guys know him, so I'm just basing it on WWE shit. So that's why I didn't put him in. But he's obviously. Look, I left a lot of people out. If I redo this list, I could give you another 5. Honestly.
Oh,
right.
I think we all could. By the way, somebody, I think it was Vince, did a Jesse Ventura impression. And I just want to, that triggered. We are getting the return of Saturday night's main event, and Jesse the Body Ventura is doing play-by-play.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
And that makes me
That's
very
great.
happy. I am
That's
very
pretty awesome.
excited. That is pretty cool. And I think it's in New York, actually.
While Braun Breaker makes his way to the ring, I want to let you all know about the Gulf of Tonkin. You don't know what I know. I was there. We left our boys behind. They left them behind. You know, I was in the Buds course. It was before you become a Navy SEAL. There weren't Navy SEALs. You just took the Buds. You know, anyway.
That's pretty good, actually.
I'm working on it, Jesse.
That's pretty good.
The Twin Towers were coated with thermite paint. It was an inside job, Shivani.
So I have
we're
a question. How
yeah.
relevant do you think this Saturday night show is going to be? Are we going to get SmackDown Raw kind of matches, or is it just going to be, or is it going to be like Saturday main event back in the day that used to get like one real good match and a bunch of bump matches?
I want to kind of think that they're going to treat it somewhat like a mini pay-per-view.
Yeah, because my initial thought was bum matches, but I'm like, they can't. If they want to keep the problem with Saturday night's main event, whenever they tried to revive it, the initial run was great because Saturday night's main event had some big angle happening, whether it was a snake biting Macho Man or something happening with the Mega Powers, whatever the fuck it was. There was important shit happening. The title being stripped from Andre the Giant, I think happened on Saturday night's main event. Whatever it was, there was a whole bunch of shit that happened that was consequential, and then when they tried to revive it in the mid 2000s, late 2000, 2008, 2009, it was back on NBC, but they did exactly what you said. They put on inconsequential dog shit. Just hey, we have wrestling on NBC, thinking that just the idea of wrestling on NBC was going to draw the ratings when you needed to show that it was important to watch. If they make it a thing that Saturday night's main event doesn't come around all the time, but every 6 or 8 weeks when we do one, there's something big happening. There's a cage match. There's a title defense. There's a segment that has consequence leading into the next pay-per-view.
I feel like one of the last big Saturday night main events. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it in Wembley? Where it was Bulldog versus Bret Hart for the championship and IC championship maybe.
That was
or maybe it was it SummerSlam?
Wembley was SummerSlam.
No, that Wembley was a SummerSlam. Yes,
but they could have been a Royal Albert Hall maybe.
I feel like then there was a Bulldog Bret Hart match for a title in the main event.
I think that was the European Championship at Royal Albert Hall in England.
Well, maybe.
Eric, how does that sound? Does that sound about right? You're like the guy for this era.
He won like a big battle royal or something. The Bulldog at one of those. And
yeah, they'd always have Bulldog featured when they went.
But there was the Saturday night's main event, like the last one until they revived it. It was actually Bulldog losing the IC title to Shawn Michaels.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. It's possible.
Where he went for the superplex off the top rope, but Michaels worked on his leg, so his leg gave out, and he toppled on top of him to pin him.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, that was that match.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. Because I'm thinking of the superplex, too. So. I don't know how you remember this shit.
Right?
So hard to keep it straight. But listen, so we're getting close to the very top of the hour. As always, it goes quick. Anybody have anything that they want to add before we take it home? Anything that we didn't cover?
I got 4 words. Eat, sleep, yeet, repeat.
Oh! Tomorrow, Netflix. McMahon docuseries.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very excited.
And I'm off. Yes, sir.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you for reminding me.
You are welcome. That's going to be... I'm excited for that.
Oh, I have a question that we have a couple of minutes. AEW based. Any news? Because I haven't watched this week, but on the Moxley whole saga with his new White Tea Boy Club.
Oh yeah, that's I don't know exactly where this is going because he's challenging Darby tomorrow for Darby's title shot. Smart move, Darby, putting your title shot up when you didn't have to, but you know that happens. But I'm intrigued because it feels like he's going to be the guy. It seems like they're setting this up where he's going to be the guy for whenever Danielson's ready to retire. It's going to be Danielson against Moxley, and then Moxley's going to win because Danielson said as soon as he loses the title, that's it. He's done.
Okay. But no more word on his. So is his clique just them three? There's nobody else as of now.
It's the BCC minus Wheeler Yuta, even though he's the trios champ with them right now. There's a title defense tomorrow, so we're going to see how they handle that. With Wheeler being a babyface and the rest of them being heels, but it's the BCC and Marina Shafir. Right, as of right now, and the BCC has because the Lucha Brothers are rumored to be going to WWE. Pac has joined with Cesaro and Moxley, which I like. I think he fits in with them.
Yeah, he's nuts, just like them.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, whatever they're doing, you know, the rumors initially were like, oh man, this is going to be the group that's run by Shane McMahon. And I'm like, I don't think Moxley would just like work for Shane McMahon. You know what I mean? I don't think he would just be like, this is my boss or whatever. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. Not that I'm against Shane coming in as a character on the show for a little while. You know what I mean? Like there's intrigue in A. McMahon showing up on AEW, no matter how you slice it. So if he came in, that'd be fine.
I would have loved that angle simply because it could be kind of, I know it was done, but it could be kind of NWO-ish.
You know, the name on the contract says McMahon.
Right.
Doesn't say Vince McMahon. Yeah, it's he can. There's a lot of things they could do if Shane was involved. I would even think it would be fun if Shane was involved with Sasha, because I think Mercedes, whatever, she needs a little shot in the arm, and I think that would do it. But yeah, man, I don't know where we're going with this. He's saying a lot of stuff about like this isn't your company anymore. It does seem like a hostile takeover situation, but kind of more of a slow burn. Like, I don't know if they've got like if they've got like Kenny Omega in their back pocket as like the secret member, and he's one of the EVPs.
That'll be awesome.
You know, because like Kenny, and I guess we'll leave with this because we'll wrap up soon. But Kenny was in Japan recently, and somebody on Twitter in Japanese, so it had to be translated and all this shit, goes, I just met Kenny in such and such town in Japan, and Kenny said that he was in town buying clothes for work. Now, the only person that Kenny Omega would be buying clothes for work from in Japan is the guy that makes his wrestling outfits. You're not buying suits. You know what I mean? He's not out there buying a Versace suit. You can get that shit anywhere. The speculation is he's back in Japan getting fitted for new gear. And maybe, it would be very interesting if Kenny came back as part of this thing, because the EVPs, the Young Bucks and Okada are heels, and Hangman's a heel, big time heel. Kenny needs to come back with some kind of a bang. And if he's coming back at full strength or whatever, and he's coming back to be another, be a world title contender and all that. Yeah.
And he's got history with Danielson too.
That's true. He has history with him as well. So it could, who knows what direction they're going with it right now. I don't know, but I'm interested to see, because it feels like that group is going to get bigger.
Right. The way they came in, what they stated is like there's more coming,
Yes, exactly. The way Moxley's talking, it's like there's more coming. And I'll be interested to see where it goes, but as of right now, big question mark.
Yeah, we will definitely see. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the top of the hour.
Yeah, indeed we are. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are on a bunch of different platforms, although not as many as we used to be, because something is messing with StreamYard. I feel like Facebook is intentionally being difficult with StreamYard, and I don't know why. But we are on Steve's Facebook. We are on Steve's LinkedIn. We are on our YouTube and our Twitch Most of our social media, including the YouTube, is Tag Me a Date, at Tag Me a Date, no spaces, all one word. If you go to YouTube and you type in Tag Me a Date, you'll find our channel where you can subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when we go live. And if you prefer Twitch, it's twitch.tv/War Report. That's twitch.tv/WARREPORT. And you can add us as a favorite on there, or a friend, or whatever they call it on Twitch. And we do broadcast live, 9 p.m. on Eastern Time. Daylight savings time is coming up. I don't know when, a couple weeks. Just if you're somewhere that's affected by this, just adjust your clocks, whatever. You should, as long as you know it's 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you're all good. And the best way to know is if you subscribe to the Twitch or to the YouTube. It sends a little notification to your phone, and you're all good. That's all you need. Other than that, follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date. You can go back and listen to older episodes both on the YouTube and the Twitch, or excuse me, had to cough there for a second. Or you can go to the audio podcast if you prefer an audio version instead of the video version. You go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, and you just type in the War Report, type in Tag Me a Date. There are 2 wrestling podcasts called the War Report, but we make it easy on you. We put the War Report logo on it. In the description, it says, Steve and Eric and Vince and all that. You'll know it's us by the description next to the very obvious logo. So subscribe there, and within an hour of the show going off the air, Ryan takes that audio and puts it on the podcast apps, and it gets delivered right there to your phone or your mobile device, and you can take it with you if you're doing laundry or doing whatever else it is where you need to take a podcast with you. And if you're not already sick of my voice after listening to me for an hour, you can tune in to 99.1 PLR here in Connecticut, Saturday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not in Connecticut, you can go to WPLR.com and listen online, or download the 99.1 PLR app. Just do it, because every little bit helps. The more people listen to my stuff, the better I look at my job. So give it a listen if you can. All right, guys, we'll be back next week right here on whichever channel you're on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever it is. Just come right back to this page next week, next Tuesday, 9 p.m. on Eastern Time. We'll be back for another edition of the War Report After Dark. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week.